recording everything, they want either the lavalier to be used as an input or like from here.
I'll just do it from here,
So
so I'm
from
gonna
here,
be so
yeah,
quick.
yeah, so from here.
And I think Nick can do it from here too. Let's see if he's okay. Welcome, AMS Review Forum. Manjit and I want to welcome you. Manjit gets a lot of the credit for the idea of doing this as he became editor of AMS Review, and one of the first things he talked about is furthering conceptual and theoretical development in the discipline, and in addition, being the first journal that in marketing that's devoted entirely to these very important concepts that have been neglected in our discipline. This is the first AMS Marketing Theory Forum. We think there's going to be one every year. And so we really want to welcome you, and we have an incredible lineup of panels that Mujit's going to talk about in a few minutes. But first, I would like to welcome Nick Phillipson. He is the editorial director for Springer, our publisher, and I think he's going to be able to tell you a little bit about AMS Review and where we are right now. Come on up, Nick.
Thanks, OC, and welcome to everybody. I'll just talk for a couple of minutes because this is really your afternoon, but it's really a pleasure and a privilege to be here supporting the journal. As many of you may know, from several years we've published the flagship journal of AMS, JAMS, and about 3 years ago, AMS Review was launched. And this is a really exciting adventure. You may think it's easy to launch a journal, but it's actually very difficult, and it takes a lot of people contributing and doing a lot of things, and we very much thank everybody for your contributions. Just by way of background, Springer was founded in 1842, and we're the world's largest scientific book publisher, publishing between 6,000 and 7,000 books a year in all areas of science, and this world's second largest publisher of scholarly journals. The largest rhymes with Elsevier, but I don't think we'll ever catch up to them, but we do publish about 2,500 scholarly journals as well. So we have very, very strong global reach, and it's our pleasure to have AMS Review as part of the portfolio and applying all of our resources to make sure it's very successful. So as you may know, a couple of years ago when we started the journal with Bob Peterson and Vicki Crittenden, they put in a lot of sweat and tears to get it off the ground, and we're absolutely delighted that Manjit is now taking the mantle. He already has many exciting ideas for taking the journal forward, both in terms of editorial development and in terms of promotion and outreach to the community. And so this is a great way to spread the word and get people excited. We're very, very supportive of the entire mission of the journal and looking forward to the afternoon and then the many, many years ahead. So thanks very much, and it's my pleasure to formally introduce Manjit Yadav, the editor-in-chief of AMS Review.
Well, thank you, Nick, and thank you, OC, and thank you, first of all, to everybody for taking the time to actually join us this afternoon. I know we have so many demands on our time, so finding time to attend another event, I think, requires a lot of commitment, so I really, really appreciate the effort that you made to be here and help us in the cause of actually focusing or refocusing the disciplines sort of on ideas. And that's what this afternoon is all about. So I'm really looking forward to an engaging discussion. We have an excellent lineup of speakers. I think this afternoon we have 3 panels as well as our keynote speaker, Shelby Hunt. And I'm going to actually sort of start by introducing Shelby, a person, as they say, who requires no introduction. Shelby is one of the folks who's leading theorist in our field. He's the Jerry S. Rawls and P.W. Horn Professor of Marketing. He has written the book on marketing theory. As I say, he's written the book on it. This book was published, I believe, in 1980s, I think, but the most recent one came out in 2010, the most recent edition of marketing theory. Shelby is one of those, you could say, the overachievers, specifically with respect to awards. Let me talk about the Maynard Award. The Maynard Award, as you know, is an award that is given to one of the most important theory contribution articles in the Journal of Marketing. A person who gets one award, probably, I think, as almost like a lifetime achievement award. Shelby has won this award 3 times, in 1976, 1983, 1995. In 2011, Sage Publications published a series called The Legends in Marketing, Shelby Hunt, which actually kind of included 132 articles that Shelby has written over his very successful career. So please join me in welcoming a true legend to be our keynote for this event, Shelby.
Thank you. Am I on? I'm not on. I am on? Okay. Good afternoon. Let's try this once again, okay? Good afternoon. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, okay? I start every class that way, by the way, and it's obligatory that they respond. Just one of those things. I take it, carry it over to presentations. I want to thank Manjeet for setting this up, and I wish to welcome all of you. It's amazing to me that this is the pre-conference thing, and we have this kind of attendance, which is absolutely spectacular. Today, I'd like to talk about what I refer to as the inductive realist model of theory generation. Now, in a few minutes, I'll talk about 7 particular questions about the model and my 7, at least temporary answers to them. But some background, the inductive realist model of theory generation was published in an AMS review, and it actually, in a sense, started with a 2012 article in AMS review called The Inductive Realist Model of Theory Status. And the inductive realist model of theory status focused on why some theories are accepted, why some have working acceptance and some have rejection, and the role of approximate truth in explaining why some theories are indeed successful, empirically successful, and why some theories are not empirically successful. Now, the key thing about this model, which again appeared in AMS Review in 2012, was it begins with theory proposals. It begins with theory proposals and then goes onward. And after the publication of Manjit Yadav's piece and some other cues, I began to think, well, why am I starting there? Why am I not starting the model before theories are proposed and try to understand what comes before theory proposals? So that led to my efforts to develop a model of how theories are generated, how theories are not quite discovered. That's not quite the proper language, but we'll call it discovered for now. But how are they generated? And what I decided to do was I wanted the model of theory generation to draw on the inductive realist model of theory status, which we just talked about. That's one of the things I wanted it to do. And secondly, I wanted it to draw on the philosophy of science works of the people who are referred, the philosophers of science, known as the Friends of Discovery. You can take those who work in the area of philosophy of science, and there's a group of them, rather significant group. Come on in, welcome, welcome. Have a seat, just take one. You can have mine too, I'm not using it right now. there's a group known as the Friends of Discovery who look systematically at how theories are proposed, or how they're generated, how they're developed. So I wanted to draw on the Friends of Discovery. I wanted the model to bridge the gap between the context of discovery and the context of justification, which I first introduced to the marketing literature in 1976 in what is often referred to as the Little Green Book, okay? That O.C. chuckles, because that's the one he had to read. The Little Green Book introduced the context of discovery and context of justification and talked about it. Well, I wanted the theory, the model to bridge the gap. I wanted, though, to reject the view that theory generation comes from a single cognitive leap or some kind of flash of insight. If you read the Little Green Book, you certainly come away with the impression that theories come forth full-blown with a single flash of insight and brilliance and so forth. I believe that view is mistaken, and I agree with the Friends of Discovery and Philosophy of Science that that view is mistaken. But it certainly could be interpreted that that's what I meant back in '76. Now, if you wanted me to, I'm sure I could work my way around and say that's not what I really meant to say, and I should be interpreted this way. But frankly, a reasonable interpretation of what I said was that, yes, they kind of leap into view with a single cognitive leap. I wanted to also recognize the importance of multiple creative cognitive acts in theory generation rather than single cognitive leaps. But then at the same time, I wanted the model to view theory generation as a constrained process, a reasoned process, but not an algorithmic process, such as Herbert Simon and all of those of you who are big data modelers are trying to do these days, that somehow theories emerge from, if we just crunch the data enough, we get these magnificent theories. What this model does is say it rejects that view, but it accepts the view that there are multiple creative cognitive acts that are constrained and reasoned. Now, this is the model that AMS Review published in 2013. Let me go very briefly, all right? Some of you are familiar with it. Many of you, probably this is the first time you've ever seen it. It starts with current disciplinary knowledge. We have the marketing discipline, we have certain theories, we have certain law-like generalizations, we have certain explanations. The disciplinary knowledge is often about entities, things like firms, things like attitudes and so forth. These entities have attributes.